Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Zahir, and today I actually intend to create a price monitoring agent which works something like this. So let's assume that I intend to capture pricing information from an Amazon web page. Let me go back to that Amazon page. Yeah, this is how this Amazon page looks. The idea is that I want to extract pricing information, product title, and product description of this particular product and store that in a database, or at least print that for now. So I'm going to capture this URL, come here to this particular notebook, and I'm going to pass this URL and run this. It's going to take some time because Amazon pages are generally large. They need to load a lot of different sections dynamically, so it takes time. And within maybe 10 or 15 seconds, we should have the expected product information. All right, so we have the information. Let me scroll down. So it has extracted the title, as you can see. Let me show the title to you guys. Split this into two windows. Yeah, this is the title. It has contains the title in a format that we want. It has extracted the description. The minimum features a dynamic 37 key. Yeah, it has condensed information, created a description out of that. It has extracted the price before tax. There is no price after tax, so I think that's 0. It's not able to identify that particular information, and it's also extracted the currency and the image URL. Let me see if this actually works. Okay, it does. I'm not sure which image it was able to pick. I don't see that image, but it was able to pick a relevant image, which is what I like. All right, so this is what we intend to do today. So let's get started. All right, the goal of this particular video is to essentially build a price monitoring agent that takes any product page URL, scrapes product information as we just saw, stores that in our database, and if there is a price change or a change in price, essentially, it sends out a notification. We'll expand on what the notification and what the database storage looks like in part 2 of this particular video. For today's video, that is part 1, we'll build a simple agent, and the illustration of that particular agent looks something like this. There's a price monitoring agent. We'll build a single agent that talks to 3 different tools: scraper, database, and notification API. Today, we'll be building only the scraper, and in part 2, we'll build database and notification APIs. All right. With that, I'm going to first talk about the new agentic framework we'll be using today. We'll be using, let me go back, Pydantic. Yeah, let me expand the screen now. We'll be using Pydantic AI. Pydantic AI is the latest agentic framework. It is created by the team that created Pydantic, or the team behind Pydantic. Pydantic, as you know, is a data validation library that is used by just about all the major multi-agentic frameworks today. As you can see here, LangChain, Llama Index, AutoGPT, Crew AI, Instructor, the famous Instructor, and a lot of SDKs use Pydantic. And when a team that has built a robust library like Pydantic, if it comes up with an agentic framework, I'm sure they put a lot of thought process on what some of the key features that need to be. And apart from having a regular control flow and agent orchestration, I think one thing that the Pydantic AI guarantees is type-safe responses, structured responses, and obviously they've also integrated Logfire, which is their logging library, as well with this. There is one new concept called dependency injection system, which we will talk about in part 2 of this particular video when we'll actually use that. But in today's video, we'll simply restrict it to creating an agent from scratch using a scraper tool that we intend to use, and also using Pydantic's type-safe and structured response capability to extract the relevant or precise information that we need. All right. So with that, let's get started. As you saw, I've already written the code. I'm just going to quickly walk you through the code, and then we'll look at a few examples on how this is working. All you need is basically Pydantic AI, that's library, the Pydantic AI framework. We'll be using request library because we'll be creating a scraper from scratch, and I'm using Markdownify to essentially turn the scraped HTML content into markdown content so that we can pass that as context to an LLM and extract relevant information. All right. All right. So with that, let's get started. Today, first we'll be importing all the relevant libraries. As you can see, we are importing Pydantic AI and Beautiful Soup to essentially extract or scrape content from a URL, and we'll be using Markdownify library. I'm using OpenAI key. Pydantic AI supports a lot of the commercial LLMs that are available, but you can actually also use your company used LLMs and open source LLMs by making some custom changes. But for this particular demo, I'll be using OpenAI's GPT-4o Mini. All right, we'll get started actually with the code. The first thing, like any Pydantic based application, will be creating a Pydantic class essentially, and these are the things that we want to extract, or these are the items or fields that we want to extract from a given product page. I want the name, the description, price before tax, price after tax, the tax, if there is a tax element involved in the pricing of the particular product, the kind of currency that we'll be extracting, and also the image URL. Let me actually change this to the name of the product. That makes more sense. All right, so you can, depending on the kind of pages that you'll be working with, you might want to add as much description as possible here, because remember, this is what becomes the context to your LLM, apart from the system prompt that we'll be using. So it needs to precisely understand what it is extracting, right? So keep this as detailed as possible so that you are extracting relevant information. All right, let's look at the agent class. We'll be creating a price agent, and like we have seen in several multi-agent orchestration or multi-agentic frameworks, an agent class takes in the name of the model. It also takes, in this particular case, it's also taking a result type, which is great because you want precise information coming back from an agent. And if there is an agent to agent communication, then this structured response helps absolutely, right? Also, we'll be using the class that we just created using the Pydantic base model, and we'll be passing that as a result type into our agent. We'll be writing a simple system prompt. You are a price monitoring tool. You will get the product information from the given URL. Very simple. We'll try and keep this tutorial as simple as possible, and then we'll probably add a little complexity in part 2 of this particular video, part of this particular series, I mean. All right, so the agent definition is very simple. As you can see, all you need to do is pass the relevant model or the model that you intend to use, the kind of response that you want, and the system prompt. Now let's look at the tool that we'll be using. We'll be using the decorator price agent toolplane. Toolplane is basically, you don't need to use the context. We'll be talking about the context, like I said, again in the part 2 of this particular series. But let's look at the toolplane decorator today. Essentially, like you add a tool to any agent in different agentic frameworks that we have seen. To do that here, you can simply use the decorator, and this will get assigned to that particular. You need to use the price agent, the name of the agent, followed by toolplane to essentially make that a tool for that particular agent. So if I had an agent called, let's say, a database agent, that would be at database agent toolplane, if I intend to use that as a tool as well for that particular agent. Anyway, so now we'll be writing a very simple scraper using Beautiful Soup. It's a very simple implementation. You'll find much more complex implementations online. But for this particular use case, we'll be essentially using Beautiful Soup to extract relevant HTML for a given URL, and then we'll also clean up the URL, clean up HTML, that is the HTML generated by the URL, and also return a markdown format of the cleaned HTML. Very simple implementation of a scraper. And once you're ready with that, we'll simply run the pricing agent. In the previous example, I had run an Amazon URL, which for a product called Akai Professional MPK Mini. I think I've closed that particular URL, that's fine. And this is what we found. Let's do that for another URL. I have eBay URL, probably for a similar looking product. I'm not sure if it's the exact product, but let's assume that it is. So this particular product, I'm gonna just replace the URL there, and let's see if we get the same information. Big disclaimer, I don't encourage scraping content from websites that do not allow scraping, so please do not use the scraper. This is just for education purposes, so you can probably, if you really want to practice, use this particular tool, books2scrape.com, and you should be able to practice. And there are several examples on how you can scrape a lot of product information from complex page types. All right, as you can see, we were able to extract the information from this particular page as well. Let's use this particular example. This is books2scrape, and let's see if it is, if it can actually extract the information that we need. This doesn't have let's see if there is a VAT related information or a tax related information somewhere. Tax is 0 here as well. Let's go to books. Tax is 0 just about everywhere, so I don't have tax information. Anyway, as you can see, we were able to extract the pricing information for that particular URL. All right, guys, this is all in this particular video. Is a very simple implementation of the Pydantic AI tutorial. In the subsequent video, we'll be looking at how we can actually extract this information and use the same agent to persist this information in a database, and also do a comparison with the data that it had stored previously, and look for any change. And if there is a change, it should send out a notification to a relevant email ID or a relevant system that we'll be building. All right, more on that in the next video. If you haven't subscribed already, please do subscribe, and this tutorial is going to be interesting. Pydantic AI looks a solid AI framework, and the next tutorial will actually help you understand more about it. All right, guys, thank you so much. Keep watching, subscribe if you haven't, and share it with your network. Thank you.